We have now the summer Tribal Zoo update to the modern forum. This is probably your current build that you can be running. If you were going to make a change, what it would probably most likely be would be to take out Collected Company and put in the rhinos, siege rhinos, which I'll show in a second, and take some creatures out of the board and add more spells. That would be my suggestion if you were going to change up the build. That's the siege rhino. If you want to do it that way, or if you want to be more on Collected Company, which is also a very good card, just play all the best creatures you can in all the colors. I think Collected Company is a little bit better for Tribal Zoo because it color fixes, quote unquote, because you don't have to have the correct colors in order to win the game off of it. Without any further ado, let's go ahead and talk about what Tribal Zoo really is. Tribal Zoo really is it's greedy. Think about it as greedy as you can possibly get, and that is Tribal Zoo. You want to use the best cards available to you in any color. And that's the downside, is that you've got to use any and every color available to you. So you will have to use things like 21, 22 lands of just all this hurt, and barely any. You'll see the only basics I have is a forest and a plains, and you might even want to cut the plains to just constantly be trying to push forward having this 4-color or 5-color deal. The upside is you do get certainly powerful creatures that you don't normally get, like Geist of St. Traft or Snapcaster Mage, but also things like Anafenza, Rhino if you decide to go down that way instead of the Collected Company. As well as on your sideboard you can add things like Abrupt Decays, Negates, various creatures that are powerful and are colors that you don't normally run into. So it's not all upside. It's upside and downside. Downside is you're giving up a lot of chancing against winning against tempo and aggro, but you up your speed, you up your raw pressure that you're putting out there. So you're a lot better against mid range, a lot better against control, a lot better against combo. Without any further ado, let's go ahead and get into some matches. We lost a die roll, but this is a fairly good hand. We can go right into a Geist of St. Traft. We can even get, hopefully, mana for Collected Company. If we feel like we need to overload the board, we can actually Snapcaster back the Collected Company. So this is keepable. Let's see what we're facing against. Some kind of control deck, probably. Slide Pride Mage is always a great draw here. So we need to be careful when doing Tribal Zoo. You always need to think about your mana. And I need access to green. I have access to blue, but with 2 blue cards in my hand, I'd like to get access to blue as well. Since I've got access over here, I know that in my deck, because I made it myself, I have a breeding pool. Now you need to be careful about what you've got. And when you first start playing Tribal Zoo, you probably want to make sure that you have just your deck list in your hand. You're allowed to have that, and you're allowed to look back to it to be like, do I have the correct mana? I'm cutting out black here, which I don't mean to be doing, because I could be doing black with just running black, blue, or sorry, black, green, red, and white lands here, but I'd rather have the access to blue since I don't have any black in my hand, and I've got 2 blue cards that need to be cast eventually. And he may or may not be running removal, so, you know, you gotta be worried about Noble Hierarch getting killed out here. So he's gonna take something from my hand. The guess, I mean, I've got ways to get back anything from my hand. So if he takes out Geist, because I want Geist in this matchup, there's a fair chance that I'm probably just going to path it and then play out my Pride Mage. If he takes out Pride Mage, well, I don't mind. That's not the worst thing in the world. If he takes out Path, that's okay as well. He's going to eventually need to block. My hand is full of goodies here that he's got to weigh his options. Again, one of the pros of being such a greedy deck like this, and you'll see my life total just drop in regards to that, but I can play a lot of good things as long as I play correctly here. And since he didn't kill off my noble, I've got lots of plays next turn. In Domain Zoo, you have lots and lots of choices. Tarmogoyf is a really cool draw, but we're just gonna go for the Geist. We're not even gonna pretend like we're going for anything else here. We're gonna go for the Geist. Because I can path it next turn. I can swing with this. He'll go for the and as far as this goes too, because of the Noble Hierarch Exalted trigger, he can't block with Tide Hollow and just call it a day, hoping to kill my Geist. Something that gets a little skipped when people are just focusing on hands and not on the board necessarily. So it's either going to be my path, it's going to be my Snapcaster, it's going to be my Tarmogoyf, probably likely my Tarmogoyf, or my path. But regardless, path being the graveyard's not the worst case scenario, because I have Snapcaster and just Snapcast path back regardless. So yeah, it ended up being a Tarmogoyf. He must be lacking a little bit on removal here then. Alright, well that's probably gonna go hit my my path, which is fine with me. Because if he triggers it in a certain way, I'm still gonna attack with this. It's not like I'm not going to. But the difference here is now I'm gonna lose my Geist, but he's used a lot of resources to try to kill off my Geist in that respect then. And I'm still dealing damage to him. So we got another Snapcaster. Now we've got all the Snapcasters in the deck, so we can probably collect the company into just pretty easily here. Remember that when you're announcing triggers, you want to say that the Geist trigger goes on the stack first, so that Noble Hierarch then goes on top of it, so he'll get his Exalted trigger. And if he's gonna kill something, I'm gonna make him kill the I'm gonna probably make him kill the one with path in it. If he double blocks. Or do I get back? Yeah, I probably get back the one with path, because then I can path his dude and get back my own guy. So it's not like a big deal here. Although, I probably honestly want to go for this. Stacking attack blockers, by the way. This still gives me something to cast here, because now it goes back into my hand. And this way, even if he goes to like wipe the board next turn, I can still tap my Noble Hierarch and kill off his Sculler and get back my path. Something interesting I can do, I can always use the Path to Exile as mana ramp in order to cast the Collected Company. Not that I'm aiming to do that right now. Collected Company against a control deck would be better off played like slow rolled. Mirran Crusader, sure. I am going to destroy his Mirran Crusader here. We're going to go into blocks here, and I'm going to block it. If he wants to do something else, that's fine, but this is a way that I actually keep mana up. So if I can now actually just do this right here. So the attack was wrong for him, because I was going to do it anyways. This actually just saves me mana now. So now next turn if I draw a land, I can Collected Company, which I'm going to do here. I also can snap back my paths at any time now, as well. If he has some kind of gigantic threat I need to get rid of. Pat Rack. So he's probably playing just a Pat Rack deck now. We know that. So casting is not an option here. We're going to want to get black, by the way. Now we have access to all of our colors. We're going to cast Collected Company. Geist of St. Traft is a fine enough draw here. If the game goes long, I can always snap back my Collected Company. Bolt is also a great draw here. Again, you want to stack the triggers correctly. Now, Pat Rack will be a problem. I would think he's going to probably go to create a token and then block here. But if he doesn't, we're going to have to kill off both regardless. Because he's going to be a problem where he's just going to block forever. And he's also going to be able to kill my own stuff with it. So here is where we're going to take advantage of this. Now remember, you got to tap correctly, got to make sure you've got the right manas. You can choose path here. It's going to resolve. We're going to cast path. Target that. We're going to let his trigger now resolve. Oh, I missed. I must have yelled till end of turn and then didn't realize it. So that's my own fault. It's an MTGO error. But the path actually, the bolt probably works better here regardless, because we need to get rid of this. And if he decides to double block my Geist, it's still going to kill off his creature. Night of the Reliquary is a great draw, especially since we've got Bolt and Snapcaster again. We've got the mana now to just simply attack like this and force him to block. I can just snap back my Bolt before he creates a token to block here. Now, depending on how he blocks, I'm probably just going to bolt something. I'm getting in for 4 damage. I don't really care one way or another. This guy will take out the second one, so we're going to let him block. since he doesn't know we have a second. That's how he wants to do it. Alright, that's fine by me. We got a Snapcaster that survives then. We're going to choose Lightning Bolt. We're going to kill off the Pat Rat token that isn't there. So that way this turns into a 1-1 and then we kill it regardless. So we'll be hitting in for 6. He'll be down to 2. And we still have a ton of stuff on the field. Plus a Knight of the Reliquary in hand while he's got nothing. So, of course, like I said, you've got to judge your mana correctly. If I judge my mana wrong early on, then I wouldn't have been able to do any of this. You've got to know what's in your deck. You've got to know what mana to get. You've got to know what could be coming up because you've got lots and lots of options, and you have to weigh them correctly. This is not a easy zoo build to run. Alright, we're doing a different game. The other games were going to go way too long and wasn't worth recording. So, we won the die roll. We like that. We have a really burn-heavy hand with a land-heavy hand. Doesn't really have any action, though, so we're going to need to mulligan this. This is actually a keepable hand, though, because of the mana ramp. So, again, we need to consider what we need. We need red, we need green. We have this. Eventually, we're going to need blue. But we can get blue with Bird's Paradise, so it's not a total loss. So we're going to Stomping Ground here. Remember, we don't necessarily know if Birds of Paradise is going to live, so based on what's in our hand, we absolutely need green, and we need red. So that's why we went for that. I'm going to assume Tarmogoyf is going to go far away now. A Tribal Flames would only go away if he deems it a threat, like if he's playing Rock himself. Or something like that. Collected Company is if he's 1-for-1. Okay, so maybe he's like 8-rack, which I haven't seen in a long while, but yeah, sure. There goes my Collected Companies. They're strong. I wish they didn't go away, but, you know, that's fine. Speak of the Devil. There we wanted blue coming up. But it's fine. We got a Tarmogoyf. So hopefully we'll get ourselves a blue land, so that way we can, you know, about 5 mana do lots and lots of damage. Alright, Dark Confidant's fine. It's not going to stop us from swinging in. Noble Hierarch is a good draw here. We're going to go ahead and cast it. That'll make our Tarmogoyf beefy. It'll make it strong. He'll either block or he won't. If he doesn't block, that's perfectly fine with me. And I'm probably going to cast Tribal Flames regardless of if he blocks or not. Yes, I'm dealing 1 less damage than I'd like to do, but this way I can actually snap it back right away. And then I start attacking with Snapcaster. You're Zoo. You want to be a little bit more aggressive with the Snapcaster. Lightning Bolt. Sure, that's not going to stop our blue now. Especially because he would need to lose 1, 2, 3 life to get that Lightning Bolt. He's very probably an 8-rack deck or a mono black control deck. I don't know if those exist. But yeah, we've got the win pretty easily here. Because all we're going to need to do now is snap back. Tribal Flames, hit him again for 4. He'll drop down to 3. Draw a land that does nothing for us. But if he loses life for it based off anyways, we're still going to swing with cards. So we had a lot of damage on the board. So we're against like a black deck We don't know exactly what it does, but it's got black. It's got lots of spells. Negate seems like probably a good thing to bring in here. I don't know if taking out Qasali is great. Sometimes the I'm going to be fine with 61 cards. I'm actually going to go to 61 and not really hurt myself. The only reason I'm bringing in Negate is because I don't necessarily know exactly what he is, but it seems like he's probably got a lot of spells. I mean, we saw like 4. He's probably an 8-rack deck, and I probably should be keeping in things like Qasali Pride Mage, but we'll see. This is not a keepable hand. We don't have any way to accelerate. We can't cast a lot of stuff in our opener. So we're going to have to mulligan again. We'll keep this one. I'm sure he's going to Thoughtseize away my Noble Hierarch. If he doesn't, then he's an idiot. Like, if he Thoughtseizes away my Geist Saint Draft, he's an idiot. But he's probably, like, if he's, I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt, he should go for the Noble Hierarch. Noble Hierarch will stop me from being able to do a turn 1 Geist. It'll also stop me from being able to cast a lot of my stuff in my hand. I'm sure he's 8-rack now based off seeing this. If he's running that many cards, that's perfectly fine by me. The smarter idea would have been to stop the Noble Hierarch here. But we're going to save Noble Hierarch now for next turn. Because we're going to go for Wild Noctil, try to deal as much damage as possible. And if he's going to bolt my Noctil, I'd rather he bolt my Noctil than my Noble Hierarch. Again, I value my Noble Hierarch higher, which is why I'm doing what I'm doing. Okay. Yeah, we don't want him to win this this war on amount of cards drawn. So we're gonna get rid of that. Alright, we can't cast this right now, but we can cast this. We don't want to waste our turn. Let's go ahead and just deal 4 damage to him. Really, it's the moles that are killing me, if anything, here. If he Ghost Quarters my black land, I'm actually going to be in pretty dire straits. Because I can only basically get a white or a green land. That would be his best play, but he doesn't know what deck the deck I'm running. Although it doesn't take too much brain thought to know that you don't have a ton of basics in this. You also thin out how many lands I can get, which is probably good against me right now. He's doing it in his own land, huh? Crazy. He didn't even tap it for mana. What is he trying to get? Like a white source? Maybe? Green? Tarmogoyf. So he's just some weird variation on Jund. He's like an 8-rack Jund. I'm gonna need blue. I think what we do here is, based on him losing amount of life he's going to lose off of all this stuff, we're going to get ourselves a blue source. We're going to go ahead and pay for it. We're going to play the Snapcaster. We're going to target the Lightning Bolt. We're going to bolt him. So we let him get our but he'll be at 5 life. So we're letting him destroy our collected company, which stinks a little bit, but we can actually on the swing back really hurt him if he doesn't have a creature to block with. This path does a lot for us. So he's down. He had nothing to do here. We can path out his Tarmogoyf. I very much doubt he's got anything worth mentioning. Like, more discard's fine, because I'm just going to path out your Tarmogoyf here. If it's a Thoughtseize, then you're dead. Surgical Extraction going for Tribal Flames seems fine. Path your Tarmogoyf. Now you're dead. Because we got the win off just swinging with Snapcaster. You see with Tribal Zoo, if you're using Snapcaster, it's a little bit more aggressive than what control decks might be doing. Collective Company would be pretty funny. Well, that's that. So, without any further ado, this was the Tribal Zoo deck I was running. Again, in your Tribal Zoo, you want to take aggressive creatures across the spectrum, the best creatures that you possibly can, the best spells that you possibly can. Tribal Zoo is very much good stuff with some random synergies, you know, like the fact that Tribal Flames is really good on its own. I was telling someone this earlier. Tribal Flames is really good on its own. Snapcaster is really good on its own. Together, they're amazing. You know, Geist of St. Traft is good on its own. Collected Company is great on its own, but together they're amazing because you can just get you can get a Geist of St. Traft. You might want to lose maybe one Geist because you're upping your Geist count with Collected Company anyways. Things like that, you know, Negate's good on its own, but then you add Snapcaster to the equation, it gets better, etc., etc. Qusali Pride Mage, sacrificing for Tarmogoyf is great, etc., etc. Maybe you want to have some discard here. I don't know. Like you know, the Tide Master Scholars probably are fine in sideboard here, especially if you're running Collected Company. Regardless, you've got lots and lots and lots of options you can choose from, and it's up to you how you want to mix and match it and put it together in a deck. The important thing is once you're done looking at it that you've got a good curve, like I have right here, and at the very end you need to make sure that you have mana that not only supports the colors that you're running, but also in the sequencing that you're running. Turn 1, I need this. Turn 2, I need these colors. Turn 3, I need these colors. That'll help you figure out what duels and which fetches you need to get. You figure out what duels you want first for those, and then you figure out what fetches get all of those duels, if not most of them. Alright guys, thanks for watching, and as always, remember to feed the animals.